Welcome to Exploring the Ozarks, where we tell the history and stories of locations, places, and people that make up the area. Here's Matt.
Here I am.
I feel like we have to now do my song.
Fix my new red mic.
We're going to remind us all. I want to fly through the intro.
Yes, okay. Speaking
of
the
podcast.
Flying through the intro.
We're going to fly through
Hi,
the
everybody.
Intro.
My name is Matt Graham. I am here with my
podcast.
partner in crime, David Carr, over at Springfield Studio One, Creative Endeavors. We'll talk about Springfield Studio One. It's got a studio, a classroom, podcast rental of what you see here. We're not renting it. This is his. Springfield Improv. They operate out of here every second Saturday. So that's coming up here.
They just had one last week, actually.
Was it last week? So
as of this recording, it was the Mother's Day Improv.
You guys have a good turnout?
Yeah. About
good.
40 some odd people, which is almost a full room.
That's pretty good.
We have about 60 some odd seats here, so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good spot. It's a good place to be for anything you want to do as far as anything entertainment-wise. They got a stage and all that kind of stuff.
We're going to have some screenings this week, actually.
Some movie screenings?
Yeah. There's a recent graduate from MSU is going to screen her film here. We're going to have a screening with the Ozark Film Foundry, which is a nonprofit that I also do.
Springfield Film Foundry?
The Ozarks Film Foundry.
Ozarks Film Foundry.
Sorry, I may have said that wrong.
No, I think I heard it wrong.
But we have a mixer for our filmmakers, and we're going to screen some films after the mixer, and then also on Saturday.
Wow.
We're going to have a comedy night here on Friday.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, a couple comedians are going to be coming out. And
is that going to be a regular thing for you?
Hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the word out there more so people know that they can come here for, all sorts of things, comedy, music.
Comedy's making a comeback, though, man. So
it is.
And Springfield music leading into a couple of things we're going to talk about in a little bit. So I'm going to leave you with that cliffhanger with Springfield music, but we're always involved in Springfield music. But we have a couple of guests that we're on lately that we'll talk about here in a minute too. But we are at Springfield Studio One. So what you're hearing, what you're seeing is all right here in this spot, plus much more. So if you want to rent that out, give them a shout at, tell them where they can get a hold of you, David.
Springfield Studio One.
Yes.
.com.
There you go.
And then there's a submit a form there, or you can just you can put a comment on the video here.
There you go.
Want to do that? Yeah.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah.
We'll give you your phone number. We'll pull it off the bathroom walls, and we'll make sure we post that too.
I have an office phone. I just don't remember the phone number.
Good. All right. Well,
I'm not going to get my cell phone number here. Sorry.
But you're very good at emails, and I hate emails, you should keep that up.
Decently good at it. Yeah.
For all those of the regular folk that want to help us out and try to keep them attached to the show with all the things with Patreon. Tell them what Patreon is real quick.
Patreon is a way to support us if you are an individual, not a business, but we do have business sponsors as well, or organizational sponsors. Or Patreon is for those who want to spend, or support us with $5, $10, $25 amounts. And for each of those levels, you get access to behind the scenes stuff, exclusive content.
Some cool stuff in that back area of our Patreon. So.
There is. We had some things like from the trips we've done recently on the river. And other things of that nature.
And we're going to talk more about that too.
We are. And then, just go to patreon.com, and there's a link here in the video where you can click on that, and it's just a monthly payment that you make. Perfect. And it helps us with our mission of exploring the Ozarks.
Right.
So
I've heard inflation is slowing down a little bit, so you've got that extra cash to throw at us.
It's like it's your day job.
Yeah, being in banking, I tend to do that. I am with Central Bank, and mortgages are just crazy right now. But if you do need a home loan, let me know. But otherwise, David, we wanted to kind of sit down today. We don't have any guests. That's why we have empty chairs here. Our mints are all the way over there.
Unfortunately.
For some reason, they're a hot button. I don't know with all of our guests. But today, we wanted to do a little refresher.
There we go.
Oh, there they are. I look at them. I don't ever eat them. I just look at them. But
it's like art.
It is kind of. They are very pretty, though. So what we wanted to do today was just more of a recap of what we've done the last few weeks, because we've come out with so many episodes.
Well, we're into the 20 some odd episodes, I think.
I mean, at least 20, right? I mean, 19's coming out today.
We're over 20.
20?
We're well over 20.
So shows how much
John
I know.
Farmaria Latorre came out today, I believe.
Okay, yeah. And that one is out today. We started going with Wednesdays. Wednesdays felt more comfortable. Saturdays just seemed like there were so many people doing other things that, we're not doing this so you don't watch it. We're doing this so you guys actually see it. Because, I've had a lot of cool feedback, and I keep saying that, but I've had a lot of really good feedback from people, man. It's been awesome. And I think, honestly, that's just the podcast portion. We haven't even come out with the other stuff that we really wanted to do for this show, and that's all about to. So please stay tuned for that, because we're about to drop some really cool stuff about the Ozarks.
Isn't one of the comments you get is about how we're not exploring enough?
No.
And now we are.
Yay. I think that's just me feeling guilty that we hadn't done it yet, but we've been so busy doing the podcast that getting all the guests that we've had. I mean,
this isn't our full-time job.
No.
So, I mean, it's not like we can go out every day and do podcasts.
Right.
So,
like everybody that does podcasts, pretty much.
Seems like it anymore, right?
And we both have very busy day jobs as well. And you run a business, and I feel like I run a business. But the real estate market is absolutely nuts. So pardon us. but it's been a little crazy. So today's just more of a recap. We've had a lot of cool stuff. Now, to answer your question, I've not had anybody ask me about it. I think just personally, we know why we started this. We know what our mission was, what our goal was to get out and explore. It just so happened to be one of the colder winters I remembered. There it is. And we started in January, and we're like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. No, we just knew we had to start getting content out there.
Yeah. And so we know that we've got a lot of content that's come out. Now
I think we tried to go out and record one time. Like, we met near Springfield Lake. And
we did.
It was really
cold,
cloudy, and
man.
it was cold.
Windy, I'll get out.
We were like, what do we do here? And then we said, let's wait till it gets a little bit warmer and greener for one.
Right. And so we also called that a scouting mission, really, more than anything.
Which we do quite a bit, honestly.
And you really have
whenever
to.
You're out and about, you're always looking for places to go and talk at and talk in front of, or go and visit. And
I found some cool ones this weekend, though. I mean, we got to get you back down to the Buffalo River.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
In the fall with your drone work that you do and everything, you've got to do it. I mean, what really killed me was at the water. So me and my family went down to the Buffalo River for Mother's Day and got to meet Tim Ernst in person, which we're going to come out with a video with that here pretty soon, too. I got to do it. I was hoping for
a little
late.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So I was reminiscing about what I did
because he was
weekend.
one of our guests.
Tim was a guest of ours. It
was a phone interview.
I don't know if everybody knows who Tim Ernst is, and that's why I'm trying to just blow up Tim Ernst's name, honestly, because Tim is a freaking legend, man. I mean, he's been doing this for 50 years, right? Like, I mean, you take a guy that's gone through 25 pairs of hiking boots that usually last, people years. He's been through them, and he's walked
a lot of hiking boots,
tens of thousands of miles, if not more than that, on hikes. But he's doing it to make books for people to be able to not be lost in the woods, and that's why I've used him so much.
He's helped extended trails. I mean, he's been part of a
Ozark
whole
Highlands
bunch
Trail is
of big
huge,
things.
And they're going to turn that into something that goes all the way to St. Louis, pretty much.
Nice. From Arkansas.
It's going to connect to the one that they're doing in Arkansas, but that's been a 20-year vision. But this guy is the foremost leader in not getting lost on the Buffalo River area, or if you want to go find waterfalls or whatever. But he's kind of like, I'm glad he's a friend of the show now. We're kind of like friends now, and that's good. Something I never thought I would ever have. Is someone like Tim, and Tim loves it. Tim loves this show, and he said that he doesn't listen to his episode, but he listens to other ones. And I love that about the guy, because he's like me. I don't like listening to my voice. So hearing that, is very strange.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
But he was a great guest.
Very good
and
guest.
it was one of those things where we actually had Jake, the guy that's usually behind the cameras in here, he was down there with you, and we recorded an interview. Yeah. And that's the kind of stuff we're going to start doing more. And we have been doing more, actually. We have several episodes that are going to come out where we were on the Finley, we're on the James River. We have some hiking spots we were going to go hit and do some hiking videos.
And I've got to be
and
better
not just
that.
Hiking, but safety. How to actually do these things properly so you don't hurt yourself.
Exactly what I was getting ready to say, because it is, and that's why I was thinking, not getting lost on the Buffalo. That's your first thing, is not getting lost, because people do. But the way we're doing this with Exploring the Ozarks, the first word means everything to this show. Yeah. So meeting with Tim was a huge thing. But then what we did the week before, where we went out on the James River.
That was beautiful.
Hardly a soul out there.
Dogs.
I was going to say hardly a soul out there except for the river dogs, which you kind of expect them to be there, I guess, on a Wednesday night.
There's a group of like 10 of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, something like that. They've got like 1,000 people in this floating group that they just say, we're going here to do this, and you guys meet us there type thing, and they were great.
List of people to talk to.
Yeah, and they gave me they initiated me.
They did.
They gave me a sticker, but they said when they introduced people to the group, they say, now you've had a river dog pee on your leg, and now you've been initiated. I'm waiting for someone to start peeing on my leg.
Now on the canoe too.
Now I got the sticker on the canoe with all the other stickers. So
I'll be coming out with the episodes we made. That's actually Have you reviewed those videos yet?
I don't think so.
I need to show them to you.
I need to look at them.
Because we were going to make, I think we were going to make some more, which I haven't shown, which is why I haven't shown them to you yet. But
yeah, because we need to come out with a little, a few commercials with it. A lot of B-roll in that, obviously, too.
So that's one of the big exploring things that we do, though, is we go out onto the rivers or hiking or to different locations and show them off. But we also have a couple other things that we're doing for exploring with John Farmer de la Torre, and we're going to call it Everyday Ozarkian.
Yeah.
He's actually talking about stories of people of the Ozarks,
which is
not like famous people, but we're talking just everyday people.
But you know what? John's got a really cool way of looking at it, which just it's so symbiotic with what we're doing. I love the word symbiotic. It makes me sound smart, right? But
very, very smart.
No more syllables. Yeah. So John is a guy that, he'll go driving one day and then he'll see somebody that's doing something interesting, or there's some history to what they're doing or where they're living or whatnot, and he'll stop and have a conversation with them.
Yeah, literally in the middle of the road.
And to me, that's
maybe not the
huge.
middle of the road. He'll pull over.
Yeah, usually on their land or something. But something like that is stuff. We've lost a lot of our oral history in this area. And people like that are what keep that going. Those stories that we all forget, that we all think are legend or whatnot. And there's so many more stories than we all know
like the
about.
Ozark Howler.
Oh, Ozark Howler. I got a treat for you on that one. All right. So stay tuned for that. There's a lady that lives not too far from me that has evidence of the Ozark Howler, she says. And it's on her property quite often. And I just so happened to be watching another show on Discovery Channel. It's a big show. I can't say what it is, but it's a big show, and she was on that show.
Really?
Like, literally came to her house, and they set up cameras and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, they were only there for a day.
Sure. Yeah.
So it's not like you're just going to find that or find evidence, But anyways, I do want to hear what she has to say about it. It's a super cool story. Yeah. I've already talked to her about it, being on the show and all that. But John de la Torre is also a guy that he just finds people where they are and goes to them and does some really cool interviews. So you're going to be seeing John de la Torre on here instead of me doing interviews and David doing interviews. You're going to see another guy.
I'll be there with him. I'm also his sidekick on that show.
Oh, there you go.
Because I run the board.
He's going to need it.
But he had this to give you a promo or a little bit of a preview of this. He had the last one he had when he came in here this month to talk about it. It was the what was it? The scariest man or the angriest man of the Ozarks. It was a story that he had somebody tell him on camera.
I love that.
And so he was talking to this guy about his location of the place, but then he's a storyteller, so he was telling the story of this. And it's a folktale. It's an actual handed down story in Arkansas that people just tell around campfires.
He's the angriest person?
I believe it was angriest or the toughest. I can't see. This is why I have to watch the video. I was going to say,
is he just a general asshole? And people are like, he's just an angry guy. Or he did something.
But the fun thing is that this is a story that's told while you're coon hunting. So it's a coon hunting story.
It's like snipes and stuff. Yeah.
So it's one of those things that he talks about, that like he met this person, he heard this story, learned these things about coon hunting.
I love that.
In general. So that's the kind of stuff that you'll hear on John's segment.
And I think he does a good job, speaking what that story is and telling the story and all that. So I can't wait for you guys to see that. That's going to be a good one to watch. Yeah. But as far as like what we did on the James River and the exploring part of it, we're really excited about that. I mean, going back to that anyways, because
we can show this thing off.
Like we said, we started.
Oh no, it fell apart. Ow.
Good thing there wasn't like a lure attached to that.
Well, to add insult to injury, I hit my cut that I have right here. That's the sharp corner.
Always going to feel good. So we found a pretty good sized bobber out on the James River. This is kind of our trophy, but we also like to clean up as we go places.
Yeah, no, we collected a small pile.
We did get a small pile, but something like this is how many stories are behind that? How old is that?
In front of your face so they can see on the camera.
Okay, so this is our little bobber that we pulled out of our
and we're
area.
going to start. That's what one of the reasons this shelf is here is because of that.
Yeah, putting artifacts on.
Mike Strain was the guy that we had on. This is an artifact that he was selling from his movie prop.
Oh yeah.
He was doing his yard sale, so like this is a prop that they would use in movies.
That's super cool, actually. But what we talked about doing at first of all this was like, we're going to go out on the rivers, we're going to go out on the trails and all that. Now we're finally putting up where we shut up almost. But as far as the James River, that was such a cool float to do in the middle, in the late afternoon, nobody hardly on the water. Spring, the water was a little low, but it was perfect weather.
Saw a lot of fish.
Tons of fish, just couldn't catch them, little bastards. But
we had a fishing pole.
And then David, you'd never been on that stretch of river before.
I hadn't.
So what did you think about that stretch of river?
I thought it was beautiful.
I mean, from start to finish, it's gorgeous.
It was amazing. I'd been to the Y Bridge, which is where we ended.
Yes.
But anywhere before that was like it was really nice. The bluffs were amazing. Just the water itself was clear, and you could see all the way to the bottom.
Right.
Easy enough to float. I mean, it wasn't really hard to do. No rapids, no anything. So
only that one spot we had to get out and walk a little bit, but that was my fault.
A little bit.
That was my fault.
That's okay.
David learned how to follow a V in the water.
I did. I learned some new techniques. Yeah.
Which is really, that's why I wanted to do this too, is because, small stuff like that is what keeps you not doing it, right? You don't know everything about going out and doing that, so you don't go do it yourself.
And that scenario, like, if I didn't know about following the V, I may get,
tangled up in something,
capsize, you may ground up onto shore. It's shallow there. I mean, and it could ruin your day.
Well, trust me, buddy,
the float goes.
There's a reason why I know all that stuff, and it's because I have flipped those canoes and those kayaks and watched all my beers float out of a cooler.
So learn from Matt's experience.
Yeah, I don't drink beer on the water anymore too, just because of that. But I don't drink beer anymore anyways. But there was some small stuff along the way that those types of things are huge for what we're doing, because we want to educate you guys too on what to do while you're out there. So there are some tips and tricks that David's got filmed. There's a secret spot that I don't ever show anybody unless you're with me on the James River
or watching the show.
But they're not going to know where it's at. Nope. That's the good part. Yep. You got to find this yourself. So you have to go out and explore your own Ozarks. But I will tell you what's available out there. And it was a really cool waterfall with a little horseshoe canyon that was there. Every time I'm there, the landscape changes. So there was a lot of debris that
it was fun. I mean, that was a fun area to explore right there, going up to that waterfall.
It's just really hard to do with equipment.
And it wasn't like well, I guess I shouldn't describe what it was because I want people to find out in the video, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it.
Cold water too. I mean, it was just a gorgeous spot. It's a good spot when you're about halfway done with that float. Little more than halfway. It's a good spot to stop and kind of recuperate for a second and get some cool water on your head. Yeah. Even on a hot summer day, that's the best place to stop, is that waterfall.
I believe it.
But when I mention waterfalls, usually people are like, "No, it's the James River. There's no waterfalls." I'm like, "Oh, there's some waterfalls."
So I'm thinking of a tweet that I saw from the National Park Service today.
What'd it say?
I don't know if you've ever followed their account or seen tweets.
No, I don't.
Well, people will post them on Facebook and Instagram too because they're just so freaking funny.
Right.
So the National Park Service said, "Hey, just so you know, if you're not used to going to waterfalls, maybe don't go chasing these waterfalls."
Oh no.
Then it said ... Maybe you should try to stick to the rivers and lakes that you're used to.
Stop it. Oh, somebody's funny, aren't they?
They're hilarious. Actually, if you haven't had a chance, they don't do just funny ones.
No,
they have some gems.
There's a lady on the Buffalo River that's a ranger down there. She's absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah.
And she sings and she entertains like.
Why wouldn't you if that's the kind of job you're having all day long? I mean, why wouldn't you do that kind of stuff?
You got plenty of time on your hands to come up with
TikToks.
TikToks.
From the State National Park Service. This is actually one of their tweets. They said, although it may be tempting, pushing your slower friend down if you're being chased by a bear is not recommended.
But I mean, come on now. It's a cliche for a reason, right?
It really is.
If there's a bear chasing me and you're a little slower than me, it's over, buddy.
I would recommend going and reading their tweets.
Well, at least if you are going to push somebody down, tell them to play dead. If they fall, if you fall, play dead, right?
Maybe give them some bear spray or something.
Oh, I know. I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast, and they had some people in Alaska that were just taking a friendly, happy family walk. One's in a backpack. They're holding another one. Another one's like 3 or 4 walking.
Gosh.
There's like a 1,200-pound grizzly bear that comes walking, just kind of moseying behind them, and finally, the little boy who's like 3 or 4, obviously they've talked about this, and it gets closer and closer and closer, and they're like freaking out, and they're like, "What do we do?" Mm-hmm. And the little boy's like, "Can we play dead yet? Can we play dead yet? Like everybody, can we just play dead yet?" But anyways, so back to guests and things like that
we have
had.
this whole wall where we can kind of review what we've done.
It's starting to stack up.
We got Pappy's over here.
Pappy's was
our very first one.
Honestly, man, I so wish Wayne was still around. He had so much more to talk about.
It was an amazing podcast.
Well, he's a guy that just has been through so much and does so much. Mm-hmm. Pappy's is a huge boon for him, but also the manor across the street, which I got to tour.
Pappy's is still open, and Manor's is still open. Susan, his wife, his widow, she's still running all that stuff, and she's an amazing woman too.
She's got to be putting up with Wayne, number one, because he's quite the character.
That.
But that guy had so many stories. But as far as like the connections we keep making are just unreal.
Well,
dude.
like Eddie right here with Queen City Shout.
Or Queen City
State
Shout.
48 or Ken Coleman with Focus on the 5. I mean, it was...
They're all so good. Every one of them are
Boston
so good.
Dynamics, having that robot dog running through.
The robot dog with Boston Dynamics, number one, Google it because we're still scrubbing our whole...
We actually had to get it approved by Boston Dynamics, which is great. I totally get it, you know, because some of the stuff we talked about, sometimes you don't know as a salesperson, like what exactly...
Luckily,
I don't want to make it sound like Caleb doesn't know what he's talking about. But there's just sometimes you just don't catch the things that the company says because things change all the time.
Well, that and there's only so much you can let the public know about, But there's a lot of cool stuff that they talked about with, manufacturing and all that kind of stuff that I had no idea about. But it's funny because the day before that, there was a collapse in, was it Boston?
New York,
where they were using their dog to
go
find
Maybe funny is not
people.
the right word to use.
Oh, not funny. Ooh, ironic. Not
ironic.
Not dang it.
Coincidentally, sadly enough.
Coincidentally, thank you.
Sadly enough.
I'm going with drama here. That they were using the Boston Dynamics spot dog to go find survivors.
If you actually saw the photos, they had painted their dog black and white like a Dalmatian.
Really?
Which I thought was interesting. It's a good touch, I thought.
Yeah.
And they were using it to find survivors. And
you'd think you'd want it bright, though, so you know where he's at all times.
Well,
but they have enough
with
sensors
GPS
on
and sensors on it, it doesn't matter.
I mean, you guys stay tuned for that one. That was super awesome.
One thing I do want to talk about, though, is more about is Eddie right here.
Yes.
Because that's another segment we're going to start doing, hopefully, with Eddie. And if not Eddie, with another music enthusiast, but it's called Music from the Warehouse.
Yeah.
Because we were in a warehouse. That's where Springfield Studio One is at, is a warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to start interviewing musical guests.
Well, now that you have the stage, you got the lights, you got the backdrops, you got the seats.
So to live stream it.
Get people in here, and I've got some friends of mine that I'm going to put in front of you that they've been just pumping out stuff as far as music's concerned. So.
Well, and it goes back to the exploring thing. Like we talked about being on the rivers and the lakes and the streams that we're used to. Sorry, I just got to do that again. Ready? Nope. There we go. But that's part of exploring is not just the individuals, not just the places, the physical locations, but it's also the culture.
Yeah.
So talking about music, talking about theater, talking about, what are the productions here locally? What are the musicians doing here locally? That's another thing we're going to talk about on the show. Well, and hopefully get you some really cool stories from the bands about what they've done on tour.
Yeah.
How they came to be, and more importantly, listen to their music.
Oh yeah, because there's so much good music that comes from people from the Ozarks that are never going to get a record deal, so to speak. But their hearts are so big that that's all they want to do is play. I mean, we had Johan Collins on here, and he's one of the major music promoters for this area, and he's been doing it forever. I mean, he had DMX and people like that have come through. That he's the one that got him to play down here, and people like that are like the lifeblood of our music in this area.
He's mainly with the Outland.
Mainly with the Outland.
Yeah, but he promotes all sorts of
He's got
music.
lots of good connections, but he was doing like freaking, I mean, South by Southwest is one of the biggest music festivals in the world. And he had one of his own segments of South by Southwest, which blew my mind. Did
that for years.
Yeah, and he's doing, these release parties for, what was it? There was Tinder, I think, was like when it first came out or something. They did like a big launch party.
Yeah.
Who was the
You'll have
female?
to watch the episode to
there
find
you
out
go,
all the
because I
names.
forget everything he said, but it was one of the major.
It's been a couple weeks since we've recorded.
Yeah, but it was one of the major female rappers that he had on. That was her CD release party, and it was like a huge event, right? But people like that are the lifeblood of the area.
Yeah.
But you even talk about Jeff and Jaw with Sato 48 that we just had on again over the show.
Well, and they just had that. You were going to talk about that, your experience with that, because I was a filmmaker. I went out and made the film. I also organized Sato 48, but I don't judge because I'm a filmmaker. So
you don't get to judge all of it.
Matt had the opportunity to be a selection committee member.
So they call it selection committee member, and I was blown away by the amount of talent in Sato 48.
Yes.
I was like...
There's about 400 people that participated this year.
That's unreal.
With 51 teams that turned their film in on time, so they're up for awards.
Right.
And then there were 74 teams total, and 65, I think, turned their films
Unreal. And that's a lot to wade through.
It is a lot.
So they leave it up to a lot of the public, mainly not really public,
let me
but
give
you have to be a selection committee member. So
the main idea is that a film is only successful if they do well at the box office, typically. Like that's the biggest metric is what does the public think of the film? Are they willing to pay to go see the film?
Right.
So the selection committee is that segment of that. They don't want professionals there. I mean, you can be and still be a part of it, but they're not looking for professionals. They're looking for everyday people that just like films.
Right.
And so, man,
you get to put one together. Yeah. And I do, and I love films. I mean, it's something that's one of the best distractions you could ever have, but it's also neat to see what we can do with technology or lack thereof in this instance, because there was still some like CG looking stuff and some of this stuff, but just the production of it all and coming up with a storyline that takes you through 3 to 5 minutes, and you have to basically write a whole movie
to 5 minutes
in 3 to 5 minutes, and a lot of them were such good storylines that I was like, I want more of that.
Sure,
one, you know. But getting to judge on, and there's many different criteria for that. You're not just judging is it good or not. You're judging everything about the package that they sent them, the inspiration package.
It's the Oscars, basically, all their award categories: cinematography, directing, sound design, lead, best actor, best supporting actor. We're basically following those categories.
Okay, I didn't realize that's where they actually got that from, even though we've interviewed them twice. But
there's a lot of details in what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're a great group. I mean, Jeff and Joe have got some of the best personalities ever. They're very good at promoting it. They're very good at doing it, following through with it. It's got to be a lot of work though, with that many people to surround yourself with, and they do a great job. But being part of that was super neat, because I'm sitting there literally just doing it from my phone. And in my off time, I got through about 25 of them, I think.
Which is really impressive.
It does take a while, because you're judging all of those, and you're making sure you're watching it again and again, making sure you get it all. Because they have an inspiration package that goes out, too. They all have to adhere to that, so you have to judge it based on that knowledge, too. And I think that they do such a good job that I wish more people would get involved with it. So,
well, that's the goal. We want to have, if anybody's interested in being a select committee member, I mean, that's available for several hundred people to do that. And the technology is there. My friend Adam, he's the one that did Festival Manager and made the software that makes so you can judge, and he did a really good job putting all that together. But it's really simple. You can just sign up and basically just have everything done online. You just sign into a Festival Manager, and you can judge from there.
There you go.
Let's take a quick break so I can
check those cameras.
Turn the cameras on and off.
Go for it.
Choosing your home loan is one of the largest financial decisions you'll make in your lifetime. And with many different kinds of mortgages available, there are lots of choices out there. I'm Matt Graham, and I will help you find a mortgage loan that fits your lifestyle and spending habits so you can shop with confidence. My passion is helping people find the homes that they love. I will find the best way to get you that loan, working all the angles and finding what will work for you. Because I know transactions happen at all times of day and night, you can always reach me at 417-209-8532 or matt.graham@centralbank.net.
Springfield Studio One is proud to host Focus on the Five podcast and many other productions here in Springfield, Missouri. Do you need a place to rent for video productions, photo shoots, and everything in between? Contact us today and we will provide the perfect space for what your project or event needs. Reach us at 417-739-0777, springfieldstudio1.com.
All right, we're back.
We're back.
And we also want to thank our sponsors, the BIG Insurance with Jess Bowman and Dustin Bowman. They're amazing people, and we're really happy to support them. And
they're on all of our end cards. And we have our Patreons, too, which we already talked about.
Yeah.
We have a couple of those, and if you want to be a Patreon member, do that, please.
You know, the Patreon thing people don't really get, but it is to support us, to support what we're doing. But you also get some really cool content. So you're going to be flipping through TikTok or Facebook Reels or Facebook anyways, so you might as well watch something that your friends are actually doing, right? Not everybody else's friends, which is weird to me. But anyways, I know, I've got friends out there. I know.
So we were just finishing talking about SETA before the break, which
was a blast.
A good experience.
So when is the kickoff party for that, though, as far as the screenings?
So the kickoff was April 20th.
But the actual
21st.
screenings,
the screening,
awards.
The Moxie was like 2 weeks after that, and then the awards ceremony is June 3rd, which
June
is a
3rd.
Saturday at the Gloys.
And that's open to the public too.
It was open to the public.
Go to that.
Tickets are $10 per person unless you buy a package, which you get a cheaper rate. I think it's $8.
It's a pretty cool party they put on, though. And everything,
it is, and it's
too.
going to be a huge red carpet experience. We're going to have, it's tuxes
at the Gloys,
getting dressed up at the Gloys.
That's even better.
Red carpets, 7 repeat. All the filmmakers going to be celebrated. You get to watch. It's like the best of SETA because you get to watch all the winners.
Very
and typically,
cool.
if you win a prize or an award, your film's pretty good.
Okay.
So you'll get to watch all those films. And
there's some good ones in there, man. Gosh, there's some good ones.
All the filmmakers get to go up and do an acceptance speech, usually nice and short and to the point.
Right.
10,
just
10,
like
15
the films.
seconds, just like
Don't make your acceptance speech longer than your film.
So it's pretty much. And then there's usually an after party. We're still working the details out on that one, but all in all, it's a really fun night, and we're trying to maybe not officially call it the Oscars of the Ozarks because the Oscars is, copyrighted. But that's what we're going for, is that nice glamorous
Just call it
red carpet. There,
Oscars of the Ozarks. Or Oscar.
Ooh of the Ozarks.
Ooh. But, speaking of people in movies, we also had a professional
Corey
FX
Kayes.
guy. Well, we had Corey Kayes.
I forgot about, we were just, during the break we were talking about.
Who did we talk about?
who had we had on the show? We've had so many people on the show. It feels
Corey
like.
Kayes has won all sorts of awards for acting that people don't know about. And that's, to me, you guys do your research on your local people that are doing this type of stuff. Now that you know about it, which is why we call it this.
He has some big projects coming up too that he's writing and producing,
man.
and
big stuff. I mean,
when he's actually got everything settled down with that one, we'll have him back on to talk about it.
Well, COVID put a big pause on a lot of things he was doing. But the guy won best acting awards for some indie films and stuff like that, and that's huge for our area. He's from Nixa, for goodness sakes.
Yeah, and he still lives here too. It's not like he lives in L.A. He lives around here.
Super low key guy, but he was awesome to have on.
Yeah.
Our effects extraordinaire for Hollywood, Mr. Mike Strain, who
federally licensed pyrotechnician.
God, that guy has just got so many cool stories about making movies with. I mean, some people.
I feel like he needs to come back because we started getting going.
Barely
near the
touched
end,
it, man. Yeah.
Where we actually were getting into the fun stories from the shows
and the people he's worked with that we're not going to say because we can't. But stuff like that where you're talking big production stuff, and this guy's here locally too. It's super awesome. His son's doing it too, and he said his son's better, so hopefully we'll get into that part of it too. But one of our other cool people that we had on was Ken Coleman. Shout out to Mr. Ken Coleman. That guy's got so much going for the Ozarks that you guys had better listen for that name in the next 5-10 years.
He's a big supporter of the Ozarks and developing the Ozarks.
Actually, developing the Ozarks is probably the better way to put it, I think.
In a good way too. Like he's not trying to change it into the West or East Coast. He's trying to keep the Ozark culture because he grew up around here.
He's trying to keep the Ozarks and still let it grow the way it needs to grow.
But he still wants us to have that prosperity, and that's a big part of what he's doing.
Well, I mean, Branson wouldn't be what it is without him.
Of course.
If you think Branson's nothing, you're crazy, because Branson
big.
is a pretty cool place nowadays. And that wouldn't have happened without Ken as far as real estate's concerned. But then we had the 14 Mill Market, which got a lot of big response, actually, and they're getting ready to finally reopen. I drive past it every once in a while. I'd snap a picture from my truck, and every time it's something bigger and newer that they finally turned a corner. They're doing a big grand opening in June that they're going to have a big band there and stuff. I believe it's in June.
Yeah. I follow them on
July,
Facebook now,
actually.
so I see these announcements.
Check our page. Well, it's on there on our Facebook page, but
or on their Facebook page.
They're great people. They've got a great business model going on that's going to just wow people that in the culinary industry needs it.
Viking food halls,
right?
Hey, go watch the episode. That'll make more sense when I said that.
Last Kingdom. I just got done watching the movie The Last Kingdom. Either way, it reminds me of Valhalla. But
I can think of Marvel and Thor.
But 14 Mill Market, cool people, great local people that I know
great
personally.
History of the place too.
Super awesome. I mean, there's some history that
we need to go down there and
just
walk through there and do some explore the place with them.
I bet they'd give us a tour before they open.
That would be amazing.
Thinking we need to go do that.
You need to contact
and
them.
it would get them.
Hey.
Yeah, I bet they'd probably let us once they get stuff mainly ready to go. I think they've still got vendors and stuff they've got to get in there and do their thing too. But I'd love to go in there and just be able to taste test all those places that are there.
While we're down there, we'll swing by the Garrison afterwards and do some fun stuff there.
I forgot about the Garrison.
We have all these plans of where we want to go and look at these things.
Well, here's the deal with the Garrison. I get a private tour of the Garrison. And that's something that they said was just on the table, no matter when I want to do it. Now that the leaves are on and it looks really pretty down there, I do want to go back down there. I'm going to need your help.
And the Finley River Farms are just amazing in general.
Absolutely.
I grew up in Ozark. We have a fun, Nick's Ozark thing going on here. But
this is the best thing you got now, bro. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Iguana Rojas
Finley River.
Well, that too. Yeah.
Anyway, but I grew up passing by that mill, that rundown mill, just for forever, because I went to school there. I grew up around there. I've had my first couple kids. Our first house was there off the square down there, so we were
you're close by.
Yeah, we were really close to.
And you're always driving past it, wondering. Is someone going to do something with that?
And yes, because you would drive by. There's this old abandoned mobile home park that has now been turned into an orchard.
Yeah,
they've put in these greenhouses, and there was Willer's greenhouse there. They had a garden place.
They just didn't do much with it,
No, it was.
There was a little on the corner, wasn't it? Yeah,
they did
a good job.
It was pretty well done.
That's true.
But they're still doing that sort of thing there. They have some greenhouses. I think they have all these other little places you can do.
That's
workshops.
his daughter, Johnny Morse's daughter. I think that runs all that.
And then they moved the Riverside Inn if you,
Bridge.
whoever grew up in Ozark knows about the Riverside Inn. Because that thing was torn down, but the bridge was closed for almost a decade, I think. Like, that road was just not used for a long time.
Anywhere.
But they actually took the bridge and pulled it apart and put it back together and made it into a pedestrian walking bridge.
It's super
at
awesome.
the Finley River. Yeah,
it's so cool to walk down there. When me and my wife go to dinner down at the Garrison, we always have to go walk across the bridge, whether it's cold or not. Because it's such at nighttime, it's so quiet and nobody's out there, and you just feel like you're way out in nature, even though there's lights all over it and stuff.
And you know, I
look
used to,
and it's just so quiet.
You can go into the Finley River Park, and there's this big storm culvert. And what a lot of people would do for a long time is you would just go into the culvert and go to the underneath the road and go to the other side, and there's just all these trees, and there's a big open pond area.
And you can just walk down
and you could just walk through trails there.
Think about that.
But I've
never done that, though. That's so weird.
I think they've chain linked it off now or built up, like, because they're redoing the roads right now.
I think they're making.
But what they did, though, is they made
that.
it more official, because they have like a little chapel back there. They have some other roads, like, so there's still trails going through there. It's just part of the actual complex now, which is great because it was beautiful back in that spot.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to try to do as much as I can to get on that Chadwick Flyer Trail, which they're actually already working on, to be honest with you.
Oh, nice.
One of my good friends is one of the city administrators up there, and the Chadwick Flyer Trail is supposed to bring in a lot of tourists. Yeah, like as far as hiking or biking in a safe area. It's a nice concrete path. It's going to be a huge trail. Yeah,
and the Ozarks, a good trail, is worth its weight in gold almost.
Oh yeah, well, and plus it's right near all Johnny's stuff too, so that helps.
Sure,
but they actually just got the funding for it, so hopefully that'll take off. They've already got a big section of it done right there across from. There's the OC, and then there's a Central Bank right there on the edge of
all this weather going
Jackson.
on, has it been stalling progress?
All
the rain.
So like, you know where the junior high is? You got the junior high. If you're headed toward 65 from downtown Ozark, you've got Central Bank on the left. You got the post office, Central Bank.
Sure. Yeah.
You've got the junior high, and then you've got the road, and then you've got the tennis courts, and then you've got that big hill. So there's a concrete trail that's going back in there now that they've been working on for like 2 years. Yeah. I always wondered what they were doing. I thought it was utility people.
And there's a trail back behind the OC over there.
Yeah, that trail is, that's where it connects to. It actually goes underneath the road.
Oh, cool.
And it's going to connect all the way back to Johnny Morris's area.
Definitely need to go and...
They've been working on little sections of that for a while just to try to get some people to use it. Now they've realized so many people use it, we need more trail.
It's really nice down through middle of Ozark now.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
But I mentioned the weather because one of our other guests was Brandon.
Yeah, man, good segue.
Sexiest bald man. Yeah, the segue didn't work as well as I wanted to, but
good
the sexiest
though.
Bald man. That was
this sexy bald man shirt cracked me up. And what a way to come into a podcast like this.
It was
he had
very
no
bold.
idea who we were.
Very bold.
Had no idea what we were going to talk about. But
I was surprised because I just emailed him. Like, we had talked about having him on, and you were like, yeah, we should schedule him. So I was like, okay. So I just sent him an email, and he was like, yeah, sure, it sounds like fun.
That's crazy.
And he just came in.
Dude, he's the nicest guy ever.
He was amazing.
Well, you know what's funny is it was perfect timing too, because he was off for the week.
Yes.
And he's like, my wife's gone. I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm just hanging out.
This just works for me.
Dude, this was so cool
and it was
to have him
honestly
on.
the funniest episode we've done, I think.
100%. And if you guys didn't see that episode because you're too busy on Saturdays, go back and watch it. Whenever people ask me what my podcast is about, I'm like, go watch the Brendan Beck episode. Because that's one of the funniest ones I think you could do in a PG setting almost.
Sure. Yeah.
But he is such a cool guy, and he knows so much about the weather around here that it made me feel a little better about what I know about it, I guess. I
learned more about the rain. What is it that was called? The rain rivers?
Rain rivers. Moisture rivers or something like that.
I forget. He said it. I know what it is. I forget the actual name.
Go back and listen to it. And you do it too.
And I don't want to necessarily disparage any of our other guests because they've all been great.
No, they're so good. It's just
but he was the funniest for one. But two, everybody else, they always have interesting stories. Like, we've had some guests where, like, beforehand we're like, well, do we really know what we're gonna do with this guest? But then they turn out to be really cool.
And we start talking.
And I firmly believe everybody has a good story.
Yeah.
Everybody has a good story.
Even your barber friend.
I know.
Then we sat down with him, and I'm like, what the hell are we going to talk with him about?
On your face whenever I mentioned this. Well, it's like my barber's going to come in, and he's going to tell these cool stories, and everybody else is like, what are you doing, David? This is stupid.
I'm like, why are we doing a barber? Dude was the coolest guy ever, though.
He was.
And what's really, he may have won me over because when I walked in, he didn't look at me. He looked at my hair, and he was like, he sat back in his chair, and he was like, what? He's like, what is that? And I was like, my hair? What? I was like, oh, you're the barber. That's right. Okay. He's like, can I touch it? Like, I was like, no, you can't touch it.
Shane's a fun guy.
He is one of the funnest people to talk to ever.
Yeah.
And I learned a super awesome tidbit about Eldon, Missouri.
Yeah.
Having marshmallow Pepsi. That's like
I had no idea.
a national staple.
I did not even know that existed.
I'm
until
going
you
to
mentioned
Eldon
that.
soon and do just that.
You know what? Please do.
Let's go. That's all I want right now is a marshmallow Pepsi. And I'm like,
oh, goodness.
I told my wife,
We need
I
to
was like,
pull up and be like, hey, Shane told us you make marshmallow Pepsi here.
Place is closed.
Can we have like a tour? If it's closed, even better. We'll break in. We'll do like one of those abandoned building tours. We would never break into a place.
abandoned
We
spaces.
need to say this, by the way.
No.
But we should. That'd actually be a fun segment that I want to do.
Man,
and
abandoned
we'll see
places.
because
I've
there's a
got
lot
some
of those
around my
here.
house, dude, that would blow your mind.
And you just have to get permission from the owner, and more often than not, they're like, "Sure," as long as the place is going to fall down on your head. So we're like, "Sure."
Here's an example. So there's a lodge, I'm going to call it, that's up behind my house, and back before my house is on 100 acres. There's a creek that runs through it. It crosses the road. But at one point, this one gentleman in I believe the 80s, he got fairly wealthy at some point.
1880s or
No,
1980s?
1980s, I think. But this was back when Branson was really seeing a surge in people coming to it, right?
Yeah.
So everybody was trying to play off of what can we do. So this was like a gem mine where he was bringing in rocks from the Smoky Mountains that have real gems in them.
Oh.
And you would come in, and he built this massive lodge that's probably every bit of 6,000 square foot at least lodge.
Whoa.
Huge windows, wrap around, log cabin place, this massive roof. And he went so far as to the natural stream, the creek that runs through there, Wet Weather Creek, he went as far as to make a dam that was 50 feet tall, that he was going to dam all the water up. He was going to let people come in. They pay a daily fee. They come in, they break these rocks looking for gems. It's supposed to be this really cool thing.
Fun family experience.
Yeah, and that's what it was, just to stop by on your way to Branson or go from Branson to this place as a destination for the day or something, which in theory is an amazing idea because any mountain town you go to, there's some type of element of gold panning or whatever. But we actually found some super awesome gems done in the Smokies last time. Some that one was like a 3-carat ruby, dude.
We need to go down to the diamond fields down in Arkansas,
dude,
where you can actually do your own mine.
I've been so close to going there so many times, but I
don't know if that's
do
considered it in the Ozarks. I think it's just a little south.
It's a little south of the Ozarks, but we can stretch it.
Sure, why not?
Why not? It's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
But this
that's
guy
part of the show. We're exploring to find what is the Ozarks.
Right, but this guy was going to be doing this, and then apparently, he even built a little log cabin up on top of the hill so he could live in that house, and then he would work on this during the day, and he did it mostly by himself, and it's an amazing feat that he did any of this alone. But apparently, he also liked alcohol.
Oh,
and he drank himself to the point where he was broke, and he didn't finish it. Right,
Oh,
so whenever the guy bought the subdivision behind us. This subdivision is tied in, but nobody knows that this huge lodge is there. The road goes past it, and then you've got lots.
In good condition at all?
No, there's been a lot of people that have gone through there to break windows and stuff like that, but structurally it's still fine.
Huh.
The
1980s isn't that
not that long ago, but once
30,
you start
35,
busting out
40 years
windows
ago.
and stuff, man, things go south pretty quick, But that's what's sad about it too.
Who owns it now? Why don't you
one
own
of
it, Matt?
One of my friends that lives down the road, neighbor. I do want to buy it. Actually, I would love to buy that because
you want to buy a lot of things.
It's actually it's actually a super
I need to tell you about
cool
another
property.
business opportunity after the podcast is over. By the way,
I'm sure there's a lot of them out there, but right now I'm trying to concentrate on my stuff that I own.
That would be fun though, is to explore some of these places.
I could get permission to go see it.
Let's do it.
Nobody would ever know where it's at.
Let's do it.
Nobody would ever find it. Now they have it all blocked off and stuff from all of the entrances to it.
That's good.
There's a few ways to get there, and they blocked it all off. And so
that's good. You got to protect it because it could be rebuilt.
It really could.
Yeah.
Honestly,
you may have to strip out all the interior, but as long as the framing's still good,
I think the framing and stuff, you could turn it into a
saves you
massive
a
house,
lot.
man.
It saves you a lot of money.
Super cool place. But he has there's a visitor spot and all that kind of stuff. But he had it so close. That's what's sad about it. But then once the windows got busted out and all that, it became a little bit trashy. But it's super cool. There's so many other places like that though. But I watched some of these abandoned spaces, YouTube shows. It's actually how Ken Coleman got me started watching those for his Crystal Palace he's selling down in Branson.
Well, it's sold.
The old Empire Gas House. It's
sold
close to it.
Yeah.
But I see him going into places like the Indian Ridge, I think, which was the Ponzi scheme one that built, and then they left it. There's nothing.
They're tearing it down
creepy
now, aren't
about
they?
I think they are actually. I think somebody actually. It's a beautiful piece of property, though, man. I've actually.
Well, the buildings they
walked
were
out
putting
there.
on there, they were nice.
They were nice.
But then they just stopped.
They
ran out of money. I mean,
and you know, I've been up to one of the highest points in that area, and it looks over like Indian Point, pretty much. It's one of the most gorgeous spots. If somebody did take that, even if you bulldoze what was there, just made it better, that would be probably the theory of that place was exactly what the area needed. If somebody would go in there and buy that whole property and do whatever they need to do to make it more of a destination type place,
sure,
we'd all be going there. It's such a beautiful spot.
Well, and it's right next to Silver Dollar City.
Yep,
I mean, it's right
next
near
to
Branson.
Right
but
near
it's not
Indian
in
Point.
it.
No, but it's close enough.
Close enough,
Gosh,
exactly.
You're maybe 5 minutes from there, and Stonebridge and all that. But that's the kind of stuff that we need to do more of. So we're going to do
we'll make
better
plans
at it.
after this podcast.
Yeah, he's got a whiteboard back here. You guys don't ever get to see, but it's about to have a map on it, I think.
I actually need to erase a lot of that stuff. Now.
But and I also, while we're talking about all this, I did get a picture from Tim Ernst to put up on the wall. He was gracious enough to give us one.
We're gonna put it on your side so it fills up the wall behind you,
so you guys can all see it and you can concentrate on it.
Well, and that's the goal of the space behind us. That's why it's so bare and why we have some random things up here. Because it's like we want to collect artifacts from places that we go that people give us and stuff like that, and just show off, the stories of the Ozarks.
Let's fill it up. I mean, that's your goal, is to try to put as much stuff up here from our guests as possible. There's one on the wall that we haven't had yet that we've had up there forever with 5
That's
pound.
true.
But,
they stopped emailing me. So,
if you know anybody at 5 Pound Apparel, hook us up. But, we'd love to talk to them because they're a good local staple. Is why.
And they get busy.
And I love their Springfield shirts. They're so funny, actually.
I have socks from them.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
I haven't got anything
Think
from
of those socks that we talked about on the canoe. I was wearing the Springfield socks. And you're like, where'd you get those? I was like, 5 pounds. Like,
the Springfield flag, yeah.
Yep.
Oh, I love their shirts. They're actually comical, and they do a good job selling that stuff. If I tried to come up with it, I don't think I could. But as far as everybody we've had, we have actually been super blessed to have everybody on that we've had. Hopefully we can keep it going. I think we will. There's just so many more people that we need to talk to that we still haven't.
And we'll add different kind of content, and you'll see more exploring stuff as well as keeping on talking to people. So if you know anybody that wants to come on, let us know. Here's
something else we wanted to do from the start, which not just with Patreon, but we want you guys to get involved in this. So when we talk about what's a cool place that someone might not know about, drop us something in the comments and we'll go check it out.
Or go join the group. If you go join the group page, that's what it's there for.
Please join the group page.
If you're in the group page and you're watching this right now, because everybody in the group watches our videos, right?
Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Please share photos, do other things in the group. I mean, that's what it's there for.
More
share photos of cool things in the area.
We're inviting you to be a part of the show, basically.
That's what the group's for. Yeah. And so, give us ideas of where to go to, people that we should be talking to, fun stories we should be covering.
Because we've got Chad Bay, who's awesome. Shout out to Chad Bay.
Yeah, he was amazing guest.
He was supposed to meet me down there at Tim's, but we switched from Sunday, and nobody realized it was Mother's Day except for me, because that's why I was down there. Because my wife wanted to go down there for Mother's Day to get away. And so,
that's so nice.
I did everything for her. So it was so awesome. She did help me out a lot, but I cooked her all of her meals.
I did the best I could for my wife as well.
You did good. Well, and that's all we can do, right? Yeah. But he was supposed to be, he already had a trip planned down at the Buffalo for this 60-foot waterfall he was going to. It's an epic picture, and he goes and puts his head down in it and stuff. It's a super awesome place, but he had already had that on his trip list to do, so he couldn't stop. But my goal is in the fall to get back down there when the foliage looks cool, because we go back down to that same spot anyways. So I'll have you guys come back down with me, and you can do some awesome drone shots and stuff like that. I can take you to a few places.
Go on some trails and stuff.
Oh, yeah, and there's lots of cool spots as far as put-ins. I mean, we were going to go hiking and stuff, but we were just so tired. After the interview and doing everything, we just went to the river and just hung out, man. There's nobody down there.
That's what you're supposed to do by the river.
That's kind of the whole point, right? But it's funny because my son was like, I'm not getting in the water. He's like afraid of water because he doesn't like the color of our green lake that we have.
Sure.
So he's gotten over that over the few years, and he was the second one in behind me. And my daughter, she's fearless, and she was like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, I want in. So I got him in the water. We just hung out for a couple hours, and it was getting ready to rain. So we were just like, let's get out of here. But we had the place all to ourselves, and that's highly unusual.
That is.
So I guess Mother's Day, most people spend in the city with their families or something, but not at the river, apparently. So that's why we go.
Hot tip.
Hey, another reason we do this, right?
Nope.
We're going to get this.
Nope.
No, definitely not crickets. There. Why didn't you know that? You hit that button so many times.
I was actually going for, I think that one, but it didn't work with the hot tip
True.
thing.
Oh, yeah. Well,
that worked with the hot tip thing.
I want to go back onto just real quick about the abandoned spaces and all that.
We got to wrap up here soon.
Yeah, but there's so much folklore that we talked about the Ozark Howler, number one. We've got to get Howler Bike Park back here, number one.
Yes.
Number two, folklore. This area is full of folklore, and it's one of the funnest things to talk about is folklore in this area.
Yeah, that's all what John's segment, I think, is going to be about, is more a lot of those kind of things.
Even
too.
better. Well, I mean, there's books written on certain places like the albino farm and all that kind of stuff. There's an old Boy Scout camp.
You have a book about funny names right now.
I do have a book about funny names. And we're going to get in here and read
I should
that,
clarify.
actually.
Funny town names.
Funny town names. We're going to get I'm going to bring that book in, and we're going to talk about these names because some of them aren't that great as far as the story. But
they're just fun.
But it is knowledge about how tightwad became tightwad, right? So... but
is it because they sold wadding for cannons?
No. It was because some guy was such a tightwad that he would roll his money up when he would come collect it. He'd roll it up in his hand, and he would keep it in his hand so tight that you would never be able to get it out of his hand, even if he was dead.
Interesting.
Like, that's how tightwad. I think the name tightwad actually came about with the city itself. But I think also that's how the word tightwad was almost created.
Interesting.
It's a really cool story. But the albino farm, there's an old Boy Scout camp that's over by Winoka Bridge in Springfield that no one ever knows about. But before they blocked it off, I used to go there all the time in high school and just mess around when we would skip school and stuff. That'd be a good place to go hide. But I think I can get access to it as well. It's
awesome.
It's actually super cool, man. Yeah. It's got one of the biggest pools I've ever seen. Nice. That is all graffitied up and stuff. It's actually kind of cool.
Even cooler, yes.
Even cooler. But there's so many things. The place next to my house, I'd love to do it. But let us know if there's any abandoned places you want us to check out. But
anything that's steeped in local folklore.
Yes. So now you guys have a better understanding of what we're doing here. Maybe, I don't know.
Well, it's just a good recap.
It's just a recap, really. But we wanted to at least let you guys know what, we have to reiterate our story of why we're doing this, what we're doing it for every once in a while. So we appreciate you guys listening to us ramble for the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
We have a lot more to bring people back to explore too. Ken Coleman, we barely hit he needs to be like a 3-part series surface at least. Yeah,
we need to get more into his stories once his book's published, especially.
Gosh, man, which one?
Yeah, exactly.
He's got 3. He's got getting ready to publish the 3rd one. And then he's got Legend of Table Rock coming out. So there's a lot of cool stories. But we're here to explore the Ozarks, so that's what we're going to keep doing for you guys. Even to think that a place like Boston Dynamics has been on our show is just absolutely unreal. So.
Got a lot of big names around
absolutely
on the show.
So guys that have made movies, guys that have gotten awards, people that are making movies right now. There's a lot going on.
The whole entire Missouri River. First female combat Marine veteran.
Well, what's funny about that is Amanda Haynes didn't tell us about any of that when she was on the show.
She's very modest about it.
We knew she was in the military.
Which is good. I mean, that's actually a good sign, honestly.
It is. No.
Yeah.
If someone doesn't brag about being a Bronze Star medalist, to me, that says everything about why they did it in the first place.
Yeah.
They didn't do it for themselves. They didn't go out there thinking, I'm going to get the Bronze Star.
Yeah.
No, they just did it, and they got the Bronze Star because they're a badass. And she's a tiny little badass.
Doing their duty.
Yeah, but then she floats the Missouri River and the Mississippi all the way down to the Gulf.
Dude,
Mexico. You were in that boat for how long? 3 hours?
3 hours, yeah.
How did you feel after that?
Exhausted. Right. And there was no wind.
Or white caps or anything like that. You didn't portage with a boat and a dog and everything else.
Yep. I have a ton more respect after doing that short segment.
That's why I advise anybody to get out on the water and try stuff like that.
And she'll be doing talks here at Springfield Studio 1 May.
She's done one already, right?
May 22nd and then June, the 3rd week of June, I think. I'll post those dates on the website.
Come see her talk. She's got some super cool stuff to talk about. But she's about to start like a circuit almost of talking.
She is. She's looking to doing that.
But somebody like that, we've got to have her come back because she's got lots of stories. Even about. One I don't really want to talk about because she probably tells it much better, but she was involved in so many cool things with the military, but she's one of the first,
she was,
what do they call them? Pilots. Oh God, I'm going to butcher it. She was one of the first female, what they call pilots on the big C-130, like gunships. Crew chief. Yeah. So they would go in and they would save people. Mm-hmm. And then she was also on a 50 caliber gun, right? They were landing in places like Saddam Hussein's backyard, right? So like those types of stories you're going to want to hear. You're definitely going to want to keep listening to this because this is the type of stuff that we're exploring.
Yeah.
Those are the cool people that we want to talk to as well.
She's the kind of person that if you saw her on the street, you'd be like, just
Wouldn't
another
even
lady
notice
who wouldn't
it.
even know.
She doesn't like wear a bronze
And
star.
that's where I go. That's where I go back to. Everybody has a cool story.
Yeah, and
As
she's one of
long
the
as
nicest
As long
people
as you
ever.
talk to them, and as long as you let them tell their story, usually most people are entertaining.
Right.
And they're pretty fun to listen to.
And we
so.
try to keep up with events. There's a lot of them. We think we need to do a better job of that maybe. But otherwise, if you know any events coming up, if you know anybody we need to talk to, places we need to go see, let us know in the comments or give David an email. He loves emails. David, put your email on this.
No.
Otherwise, give us a shout. Let us know what you want to do. But thank you guys for continuing to watch, continuing to support us. David, you got anything else?
No, just keep on watching the show. Keep supporting us. We're glad for what everybody's doing, and we feel like we're building steam. And We're getting bigger. We're getting more sponsors, getting more people supporting us, more people liking and sharing the content. So
Wanting
that's
to
always
get
great.
involved. Yeah.
And it's always great as the people that are producing and creating this content to feel like people actually enjoy what we're doing.
Yeah,
So,
and we know it's not overnight, but it's nice to look up at the views and see a few thousand views on one video.
Exactly.
Based on where we started about.
We're glad you
5
guys
months
like
ago.
us.
Yeah, well,
and we'll keep producing stuff, even if you don't like us.
yeah,
just
that's
keep
for
going.
sure. Actually, yeah, we really don't care about your opinion, but we want you to be involved.
We care a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. We love your opinion. We love our guests. We love our.
We're going to
people,
keep doing this regardless. So.
But otherwise, what we always say is keep exploring the Ozarks. Thanks again for listening to Exploring the Ozarks. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our social media channels to help us keep exploring the stories of the Ozarks. If you're looking for more ways to support our show, we have sponsorships for businesses and Patreon for individual supporters. Check the links in the description for more details. Thanks for your support, and keep exploring the Ozarks.